After a wild Singapore Grand Prix weekend, a few things left a bad taste in our mouths. McLaren and how they treat Piastri, the TV directors and their obsession with WAGs, and Sky Sports F1 being their old selves again by showing their bias. I spent enough time discussing McLaren this week, check it out if you haven't. The TV direction has been poor before, but it's been a while since it's been this bad, and I thought Sky Sports F1 was doing a better job lately. But in Singapore, they showed their true colours again. Let me show you what they did and what they should do instead. The Singapore Grand Prix had a lot to talk about afterwards, even if the race wasn't the best. I'll get the TV direction out of the way first. Carlos Sainz has always been kind of invisible to the directors at the FOM. Many times he drove a brilliant race for Renault or McLaren and wasn't shown on TV. In Singapore, he went from P18
because he was disqualified after qualifying due to a wing infringement
to P10. None of his overtakes were shown on TV. They were filming girlfriends and fan reactions instead. The same thing happened to Alonso and Hamilton. Lewis had no brakes and Alonso nearly overtook him, but Hamilton kept going off track. That would have been amazing to see live, but they showed the frontrunners instead, where nothing happened. It was a shit show. Made an already dull race even duller. Okay, I got that out of my system. The biggest topic was, of course, Lando Norris pinballing through the first turns, leaving his teammate behind, who was once told that he wasn't allowed to crash into the car with the papaya color. I have to say, I applauded the overtake the first time I saw it. Karun Chandok always talks about rubbing is racing, and as a Max Verstappen fan, I enjoy seeing a wheel against another wheel in a carefully executed overtake. Martin Brundle was quick to point out that it was all fair and within the regulations. Not a word about Lando's wing end plate being damaged either. Then Norris said over the radio that he had contact and that they should keep an eye on everything. As soon as Crofty saw Norris hit Verstappen, he explained that it was at that moment he damaged his end plate. Martin Brundle then said it was wheel-to-wheel contact with Oscar, so that was okay. A little while later, the incident was noted by the FIA, and Brundle was quick to point out that these incidents on lap 1 are looked at with a bit more leniency. Well, I could go on, but it's clear that the Sky Sports F1 commentators want their fellow compatriot to win, and that's fine. They will never admit it, which is a pity, but they cater to a large group of Formula 1 fans in the UK, and most of them want an Englishman to win, just like I want a certain Dutchman to win.
But more about that later.
The race continued, and there wasn't much for me to get annoyed by from the dynamic duo in the commentary box. Until much later in the race, the leaders started overtaking backmarkers. On a narrow street track like Singapore, this is always a precarious thing to do. Russell, in the lead, lost quite a bit of time going through the first group, and Max Verstappen with Norris on his heels also had some sweaty moments in the car. After a while, the leaders stumbled upon a second group of stragglers, one of them being Ishaq Hadjar, who drives for the Red Bull sister team VCarb. Around lap 55, his race engineer came over the radio to get confirmation on what Hadjar needed to do when Verstappen and Norris approached him.
Please confirm situation is clear on the Max on Norris. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah,
Crofty set Martin Brundle up by asking what that meant, and Brundle took the bait, hook, line and sinker, and went on a rant that basically stated that the Red Bull sister team was going to let Verstappen through and hold Norris up. He also said that's what he assumed. Well, I've lived in the UK long enough. I've been told many a time that if you assume, you make an ass out of you and me. Crofty reminded us that Ishaq Hadjar might be Max Verstappen's teammate next season, as to say, yeah, he'll do anything. After a little more chat about their most favourite driver, they started talking about the cunning plan Red Bull had conjured up. Anthony Davidson jumped in with some information that Hadjar was simply told that Max and Lando were approaching and he expected them to be let past without a problem. And guess what happened? First opportunity, Hadjar lets both cars by and there was no issue at all. Just like before when Yuki Tsunoda was passed by both cars. They quickly switched to talking about the driver of the day. I thought they behaved like a bunch of morons, making these insinuations on a fragment of a radio conversation. We know they are always worried about Red Bull having two teams, so this will keep happening. I didn't hear any Mercedes Junior talk when Ocon fought with race leader Verstappen in Brazil 2018 and then gave Hamilton an easy win, because that didn't suit the narrative. I don't want to have a full rant about sister teams and such, but all I'll say is that if you want to have a fair sport without any chance of meddling, we need 10 different engine manufacturers and for junior drivers to only be placed in the team they work for. Until that happens, they can't say anything about the link between Red Bull and VCarb. This was very poor commentary from two commentators I usually enjoy, especially now their views on my favorite driver have changed. More about that later. If you're enjoying this video, here's 3 seconds to leave a like. After the race, Anthony Davidson analysed the incident between Norris and Piastri. He had carefully reviewed the footage and was ready to give an honest view on the event. One that his viewers in the UK would enjoy. Forgetting that in Australia they have to watch that too, and things usually get clipped up so everyone can see it. Anyway, Davidson talked a bit about Piastri looking in the mirror, knowing where Lando is, and he lets the car drift wide. He explained that Norris would be better off closer to the right, and then a bit of waffle about the tyres and how hard it is to turn and brake at the same time. And then that Verstappen was going slower. Aha! Some of the blame falls on Max. He said it was hard to judge for Norris, so he drove into the back of Verstappen and then into Piastri, but the attempt in itself was audacious and brave, which is exactly the same. It was what you should expect from a title contender. Well, fuck me sideways. How often have we seen Davidson explain how evil Max Verstappen was with his moves? Moves that most of the time were on the limit, but way better executed than what Norris did there. This is the bias everyone hates. Does he think he can gaslight everyone this way? This time Sky is protecting Norris and McLaren, who are both English, and basically dunk on Piastri, who's Australian. The strange thing is that Sky is becoming way nicer to Verstappen. It's like they're all convinced now that Verstappen is the real deal and they have become fans. Martin Brundle praised Max when Lando made an attempt and Verstappen just held his car in place. Brundle said that Verstappen could be trusted that way, which was a surprisingly nice thing to say. Verstappen needs new haters. The old ones have all become fans. Piastri fans can brace themselves because he will get the brunt of the BB now. They want Norris to win, so I have an idea. For Norris to win, he needs Piastri to lose points. Verstappen is always up front, since they have working upgrades on the RB21, so the British media needs to support Max. The Aussies all say that if Oscar doesn't win, they want Max to win. And when Norris and Piastri are fighting, Verstappen can go for his fifth. So I advise everyone at Sky, BBC, in the UK and Australia and the rest of the world to drop the British bias and adopt Dutch delusion instead. Max Verstappen closing the gap and winning the championship. What a championship would that be? It would be glorious. So in the end, everyone will be happy. Subscribe to make me happy. Take care now. Doei doei.